Hello, everyone. Surprise, surprise. Like I always say, I sometimes certain things come to me, and when they come to me, that's when I'm supposed to tell them. All right. What makes capitalism an illusion? Capitalism has a million. There are millions of different perspectives of capitalism because everybody's perspective of capitalism is different. That's what makes it an illusion. Because when you ask anybody about capitalism, every single person's perspective of it will be different. Now, I've been thinking about this for a while. So imagine imagine taking a piece of paper and drawing a circle, right? And this circle represents capitalism, okay? Like you just imagine in your mind, right? And now if you draw a whole bunch of little circles in there, that's millions and millions of people in there, right? Each with their own perspective of capitalism. What's up, Andre? With their own perspective of capitalism. But in the center of this circle, there's a there's a big circle, right? It's a bigger circle. Like the other ones are really small, but this one's the biggest one, and it's taking up most of the circle. Okay. This is a perspective that millions of people share. So it's the biggest circle within the circle of capitalism, okay? Because millions of people share this perspective, okay? Now, this circle I call the debt matrix, okay? And the debt matrix is where I was born. This is where I was born. Now, the reason why I'm able to even talk to you like this because I'm not within that perspective anymore. The perspective in which I live today is very, very far away from that perspective in which I was born, which I call the debt matrix, right? Now, I've shared this story many times um, before, but each time it's more and more clear to me of how I escaped the perspective of the debt matrix within capitalism, okay? So, in which I was born. I was born there. Okay, credit was everything, and I couldn't get nothing without having good credit, et cetera, right? I was born into that. Now, what I did was I achieved within my career, I achieved a six-figure income, which is what everybody's always trying to do, trying to reach this magical six-figure number. Okay, and I did it, right? But when I got there, um, there was nothing there. I just was like, I'm missing something. And that's when I asked God, I said, God, can you tell me what I'm missing? Because I got to this six-figure number and there's nothing here and I don't get it. There's obviously something I'm missing. Okay. And I'm telling you what I did. Okay. It doesn't matter. I'm sharing something with you. It doesn't matter if you believe it or not. Okay. So this is what I did. So I said, God, what am I missing? Because I'm making six figures. And he said, I'm glad you asked. And I'm voicing it to you. It wasn't like that. It wasn't an actual voice. It was just a different way of communicating. Let's just put it that way. So the first thing he did was bring me to my credit report. Now my credit report, I now understand that they're my papers, right? And what I mean by papers is this. Let me take a step back so you guys can fully understand what I mean when I say that. Capitalism, the foundation of capitalism was built on slavery. Okay. The foundation means that's, like the foundation of your house. That's what you walk on and drive your cars on. And you guys use it. That's the foundation, right? Now, once the foundation of the house is set, it cannot be moved. You have to tear down the whole house to change the foundation. So that cannot change. So slavery was the foundation of capitalism. Everybody knows that. You can just read in history. Everybody understands that, right? So that cannot change. So it's simply a switch from physical to invisible. That's all it's done. You know, slavery cannot stop. Okay, it's actually better this way when the slaves don't know that they're slaves, which was me. So back to my credit report. God took me to my credit report, and I'm using these words. I'm just understand that I'm saying this to you, but it wasn't said to me like this. So he brought me to my credit report. He says, "Does that look like you own yourself? Does that, he came to me and said, first thing you got to do is own yourself. Brought me to my credit report. Does that look like you own yourself? No. Later on, those are my papers. Those were my slave papers here as part of capitalism in the perspective of the debt matrix. Okay. So he just basically said, okay, pay it, pay off all your debt. Um, Once you remove those all those businesses on your credit report own you until you pay them back. And so he said, pay them all back. So I paid them all back, right? Got out of debt. Once I paid off all my owners, now my papers show I own myself. This is when I first began to leave the perspective of the debt matrix. But I didn't know it at the time. I didn't know I was leaving a perspective because first of all, I didn't know I was a debt slave. Second of all, I didn't know I was born in a perspective of capitalism. There are millions of perspectives of capitalism. I would just happen to be born in one that I didn't know I was born in. You understand? Until I asked for the assistance of God, and God told me exactly what to do. That's when I escaped. Well, left or whatever you want to call it, whatever, right? Because now that I have left that perspective of capitalism, I understand the only reason why I stayed in it was my own fault. My teacher in elementary school taught me the number line. She did. She taught me the number line. They even taught me how to count, add, and subtract money in elementary school. It was my fault that I didn't use it when I left school. That was my fault. In the perspective of the debt matrix perspective, they're on the negative side of the number line. I didn't know I was on the negative side of the number line until I paid off all my debt and came to the positive side of the number line. Once I started to see now the perspective in which I live right now is very, very far away from the debt matrix perspective. It, how can I put this? If you don't know that, put it this way, if you don't know you are a person born in the debt matrix perspective and you don't even know it's a perspective, you don't really understand what I'm saying. But the thing that connects it all is the number line. When I use the number line, if you don't believe what I'm showing you on the number line, that's your problem. That's your fault, like it was mine. Now that I'm, let's just say on the positive side, but it's more than that. Now I can see capitalism in many, many perspectives. It's really unlimited. Okay. It's really unlimited. There is no limit. I'm just saying millions because we're in the United States, but it's unlimited. Now that I can see that this cannot work without the majority being in the debt matrix perspective. But it's not doing anything. The system didn't do anything to me. I had to filter out all the stuff to leave the debt matrix, preventing me from leaving, believing that my financial success was being hindered by something or some people or a group of people or of history or something. It has nothing to do with any of it. It didn't have anything to do with any of that. All I had to do was just follow math, and that was it. Everything in this world, anybody can have a perspective on except mathematics. When it comes to math, math is God. Nobody can have an opinion on it. Nobody can have say, I don't believe 1 plus 1 equals 2. That doesn't even make sense. When when I left, it's like neuroplasticity. All right, it's like neuroplasticity. For example, when I was in the debt matrix perspective, everything was about credit, credit score, keeping my credit good, and that was just the way it was. But again, I didn't know I was living in a perspective of capitalism, right? Now that I'm out and been out for quite a while, I don't even think about that. I don't think about a credit score. I think the last time I checked my credit, it said unscorable. Now, I never even seen that. I only heard Dave Ramsey use that term before until it happened to me. Neuroplasticity is my opinion about it, right? For me to no longer even think about credit and credit scores and all that other stuff, that's neuroplasticity. I don't to not thinking about it. I went from thinking about it all the time, every day, checking my credit score, making sure I had credit for this and that, to not even thinking about it at all. I now understand that my credit score was those were reward points for staying in debt with the owners listed on my papers, my credit report. My credit report were my debt slave papers. I mean, it's right in my it was right in my face. But since I lived in that perspective, I didn't look at it that way. From the perspective in which I live today, clearly slavery is alive and well. It's clear, it's crystal clear. Nobody's holding anybody there. I can tell you that right now. Nobody is this. The system didn't hold me down, didn't hold me back from becoming rich and wealthy or whatever. It was all my fault. All of it was my fault. And when I say all my fault, I was listening to other people, knowing, not even knowing that none of their math, whatever they were saying, makes sense. Let me tell you something. I'm 56 right now, and it used to. I'm more terrified for people, but it understand that I didn't own nothing in my life. You hear me? I didn't own nothing. I didn't own no car. I didn't own my house. I didn't own anything. And I really thought, listen, I really thought I could save for retirement while being in deep in debt. Here I am, college educated, right? College educated, went to college for like 3, 4 years, whatever it was. I think I got out early, whatever, right? But I kept my student loans for 10 years. Math was one of the requirements of my college education, math was. Nobody came up to me and said, "Hey, LJ, do you think it's smart to go to college for 3 years, 4 years, whatever, how long you went, but pay for it for 10 years? Does that make sense? Why are you driving that Lexus, Linnell, when you got 10-year-old college loans? That don't even make any sense." Do you know nobody came up to me and said that to me? I was a computer engineer. Listen, I was a computer engineer for 20 years, networking, cloud computing, all that. Do you know numbers matter in that world? Do you understand? When you're a computer engineer, numbers matter. You can't say, "Oh, just put a two there instead of a," no, then nothing will work. Everything. I didn't even see that. I would have been, let me tell you something. I would have been terrified at 56 if I didn't wake up. And thank God, I thank God every single day. He woke me up around my early 40s. I thank God every single day I go to sleep. Every day I wake up to really understand that if I would have woke up at this age right now, realizing that I own nothing, everything was investments. You can't invest. I couldn't invest in the stock market. I couldn't put money into retirement. It does. Do you understand? In the perspective I live right now, taxes are a form of income. Do you understand that? Never in a million years would have I ever guessed that. Ever. Taxes are not big, bad, and evil. They only are like that way for the people in the debt matrix perspective because they live on the negative side of capitalism. You think somebody, if I would have came, somebody like me came up to me, even said that to me, I was Mr. Smart Engineer, I wouldn't even understand what I was talking about. If I would have came like me right now, going to my past self, excuse me, and asked myself, "Hey man, LJ, do you know you can't save for retirement when you have student loan debt older than your retirement plan? Do you know that's mathematically impossible?" LJ, do you know it only takes one day to buy a house? It don't take years. It don't take 30 years. It don't take 50 years. It only takes one day. LJ, didn't you say you're a computer engineer making six figures? Yeah. Then why is your phone financed? I wish somebody would have came up to me and said that. I would have been like, yeah, why am I financing a phone and I'm making six figures? But now, in the perspective in which I live today, that's very far away from the debt matrix. I can just tell you right now, it's many, many perspectives away from that, right? In order for capitalism to work, it must be this way. Slaves, slaves own nothing. Listen, all forms of currency are illusions in the debt matrix. Do you know when I was 40 years in the debt matrix, right? 40 years. Not one person has ever come up to me and talked to me like this. Never. But now that I'm far away, I get why. I understand. I understand why. But at this perspective in which I live, I see many more things just being a debt slave. That's just the start of it for most people that don't really understand. That's just the beginning of it. That's that's where you have to be. That's where you that's like zero. Think of the number line. Zero is the door that exits the debt matrix. Zero is the door. You can't go around zero, you can't go under it. You have to go through it. If I would have been terrified at 56 to wake up and realize that all these years, I remember I remember when in my career they had retirement plans up to like let's just say 20,000. You can put 20 up to $20,000 in your 401k in a year, right? And here I am making six figures. I used to think to myself, who in the world has $20,000 in 1 year to put in their 401k making six figures? I said that making six figures. The last year I had a job, like when I first got out of debt, and it's easier for me to talk about it now because I can clearly see why everything was changing at this particular time. But when it was happening to me, I didn't know. This is when I was exiting the debt matrix. Well, when I paid off all my debt, I had my job for one more year, right? Because I just didn't quit my job, right? So, but I remember during that year, everything changed for me at job. I just felt like I was locked up in a box every day. Uh, I wasn't really uh, taking those, those. Well, I had good managers. It wasn't like that for me at my job, my last job, but it wouldn't have. I wouldn't allow that anymore. I wouldn't allow that if my boss used to talk to me mean. I would that wouldn't have happened anymore. I forgot about paydays. I forgot when we got paid. I couldn't remember, and I remember standing up. I remember standing in my cubicle one day, and I said, "Hey, man, did we get paid? Did we get paid last week or this week?" Everybody's head popped up out of the cubicles, like one of those whack-a-mole games, right? And they all started saying, "Oh, we all know who make the big bucks." I was like, "What?" Back then, I didn't understand why they were saying that, right? But now I understand because the majority of people, all the people that were standing up, they live paycheck to paycheck because they're in debt. They're in the debt matrix, just like me. But I was free. That was just the beginning of my journey. That was just the first part. I remember God told me it's after a year. God said it's time to quit. It's time to quit this job. I was like, "What am I gonna do, God? I don't. What about money and retirement? Blah 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 blah." He said, "Hey, listen, just trust me," and that's exactly what I did. I wouldn't be here today talking to you about it. I wouldn't have reached this perspective without God. I'm gonna just tell you that right now. I'm at a perspective of I'm at a perspective that billions of people do not know exist. You understand? Now you hear a person talk, you're like, "Hey, who are you? What are you talking about?" And remember, everything I say, I can prove with math. I just want to make sure it's clear. I can prove everything I'm saying with mathematics. That's the beautiful thing about it. It's like I'm in a place that if you're a debt slave and you're listening to this like me, I was born there. I would have never. I just want to make sure this is clear. Okay, never in a million years would have I ever thought I was born into a perspective, one single perspective of capitalism. I would have never, ever figured that out. I asked God, please tell me what I'm missing. And then he showed me. And then that's the only way I know. I now understand that there are millions of perspectives of capitalism because every single person's perspective of capitalism is different. That's what makes it an illusion. This is why capitalism is is the majority choice around the world of economies, the type of economies. That's why it's the choice. At this perspective, I understand that economies do not work without humans. Economies don't exist without people. This is clear. Capitalism, there must be slaves because it was built on slavery. I'm not saying anything that nobody doesn't know. I'm just they taught me this in public school. Slaves, slaves were here. People, you could see them. Today, you just can't see them. It's clear. I can see them, and people like me can see them. Because remember, so you guys understand, we're going on 250 years right now. I think this year, right? We're about to celebrate 250 years. I'm 56. This will give you uh, just just based on how I'm speaking to you right now, that will give you a gauge of my knowledge versus how much knowledge is out there about this. You understand? That will give you a gauge. It's I'm in awe. Do you understand? I'm in awe of how it all works. Uh, they had me believing that I own my house, I own my car. Uh, uh, I was just doing it wrong because I was using myself to participate in capitalism. That's wrong. You don't use yourself. That's why all those taxes and stuff were coming out of my check because I was using myself to participate in capitalism. I used to always think when I had my regular job, and say like we're talking about Elon Musk, but I wasn't talking about him back then. So you think about all the money they have, right? I don't look at people like that and say, wow, they're rich. I wonder what their life is like. I don't know. I just say, there's obviously something that I'm not seeing. I remember I used to say that to myself. There's obviously something I'm not seeing because if I have a job making a salary or hourly, it really doesn't matter. If I have a job, okay, just put a job, don't even matter how much you're making. If you have a job and then you see a person like Bill Gates and Elon Musk making billions with a B, I know it's a difference between business, but I'm just trying to give you an example. Billions with a B, I don't look at them like, oh my God, look at what they can buy. No, I'm saying there's obviously a gap. There's something I was missing. And now I understand what I was missing. Capitalism is an illusion. Capitalism is an illusion because everybody's perspective of it is different. So anytime if I go up to that, when I hear people talk about, say, like they talk about retirement, every single person's perspective of a retirement is different. Do you know when I left my job, it took me a year to separate myself from the title of my career because I had intertwined my level 5, 6 network engineer, blockety, blah, blah, blah. Totally forgetting that my employer gives me those titles once they hire me. That's not mine. It took me a year to discover who I was without a job title in front of it. You hear me? A year. Oh my God, my resume is gonna get some gaps on it. Then they're gonna ask me, how come haven't been working in a month and this and that. It's been 11 years now. It felt like I was coming off of drugs. You hear me? Drugs. Oh, I better update my LinkedIn. What about this? Update my man. The perspective in which I live, the majority don't even know exists. That's billions of people with a B. Billions. You know, at first, when I first was when when God was slowly handing me this knowledge, because how I'm talking to you guys today, it took like 10 years, 9, 10 years to even talk the way I'm speaking to you today. I God was just giving me breadcrumbs along the way, giving me this, let me see little by little. I was like, oh yeah, I could take this, make some money. And God was like, man, I didn't say that was for that. I didn't say if I gave you this knowledge, you're gonna use it for that. God said, I'll let you know what it's gonna be for. I had to learn that. I'm thinking, man, I got this now. How come this ain't turned into millions of bills? Because God said, I didn't tell you it was for that. To speak to God for me, it's a frequency. It's not a voice. It's not a. It's not a whatever. It's just I don't even know how to explain it really. And you listen to them, you're like, well, how do you know that's from God? I'm telling you something. I know something that billions of people do not. That tells you that. Isn't that pretty obvious? That's obvious. Millions of people here in the US, which I was born, which is the only economy I know because I was born in it. I don't know about anything, but as long as it's capitalism, it really doesn't matter. It's just a different flavor. But millions. I forgot where I was going with that because I was reading here. Didn't mean to stop like that. See, I just want to see who's up in here. Two-part question. Do you think the people pattern the country they live in because America is in debt? Do you, do you think people pattern, what are you saying there? Pattern the country they live in because America is in debt, or you think America really 39 trillion in debt? I mean, I'm gonna speak to you from the perspective in which I live. When you see all that money and the America owed, that don't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. That's just to me when I look at that, they just throwing out big numbers that nobody will ever see, and the billions and zillions sound really really big. I don't know what the. I'm assuming they do that to scare you or something. I'm not sure why they do that because you're in debt. I was in debt. The reason why that's so big because it's us. Well, not us anymore, but it was me at the time. It was me. Thank you. I thank God every time I pay the IRS. Capitalism allows me to make passive income. Yep, yep. After I get paid, Uncle Sam gets his cut. Very small price to pay. And let me tell you something, James. There's a pattern, guaranteed 100%. There's a pattern that when those of us that understand how taxes work, truly work, right? There's an obvious pattern that we probably, well, not probably, that we have created or doing or whatever, right? They can clearly see it because to cheat on your taxes means you don't understand how to play. That's why you're cheating. Because if you understood how it works, you will clearly understand that taxes can be a form of income because those in the debt matrix cannot do it in the debt matrix perspective. Oh, what's up, Owen? Okay, I've been able to contribute over 10,000 to my 401k, Roth IRA, brokerage account this year, and that's truly because I am debt free. I could not have done that if I still have my student loans. Exactly, and think about it this way, Owen. Of course you can't mathematically because the calculator said you can't. It's really that simple. If you have your student loan debt, the calculator says you have no money anywhere to save anything. Yes, they are. They are the solution. You're right about that. It's beautiful. I just love saving money on taxes. I do. Don't purchase investments, create them. Exactly. That is 100% right there for sure. When I was in the debt matrix, I was always taught that the only way I'm going to be able to make a lot of money is by investing in something. Investing anything and everything outside of myself. There is no faster money making well, it is after you get started, but to get started, to get started, I'm the only one that can do that. The speed is unlimited if I invest in myself. It's unlimited with me. I don't have to put it into something and hope it flips and cuts in half and whatever that splits and all this other stupid. But this is listen. Let me let me. I'm going to speak to you from a perspective outside. Okay, I'm gonna just say a perspective outside of the perspective in which you live. Okay, if you're listening to this, okay. The stock market is like let me put in some words here. The stock market is like a place that businesses can get loans without actually applying for loans. What do I mean? All money is an illusion for debt slaves. They have no money. Okay, remember that they have no money. The money that they get is borrowed from the bank because they have no money to invest. So if they want to take some money, say like a person with a mortgage talking about they want to invest into the stock market, okay? If you listen, follow closely. Say like you're a person with a mortgage and you have $5,000 cash to invest in the stock market, okay? If you open up the calculator and put in 5,000 minus your mortgage balance, the calculator will tell you you have no money to invest in anything. Okay? You have no money to do anything, right? But instead, since you don't know, you take that $5,000 and you invest it. Well, that $5,000 is actually borrowed money from the bank because the calculator says you have no money to do anything, but you believe you do. So you take the $5,000 you invested into the stock market. That's borrowed because you have no money. So that's where they get the money from, like a loan, but the debt slave is the middle person because they're responsible for the investment. So If they invest the money and lose, the bank doesn't lose because the debt slave still owes that money that they borrowed to invest in the stock market that probably did went belly up. Well, they still owe the money plus interest to the bank, not the companies. Like put it like this: if the stock market said, "Hey, we are no longer accepting investments using margin." Okay, I want you to listen closely. If they said, "Okay, no more investments are allowed using margin," the stock market would stop. You know why? Because debt slaves have no money. If say like Amazon came out and said, "Hey, you know what? You only can buy whole stocks from us. You can't no more pieces of stocks and all this other stuff, right? You only can buy whole stocks." Nobody be able to buy any stocks because debt slaves have no money. Say like Apple said, "Hey, we're coming out with our new phone, but we're on no more financing. You have to buy them in cash." They're not selling any phones, or very few phones, not say any, but very few phones, because debt slaves have no money to buy phones. When I was financing phones, I would have never thought about any of what I've just told you. Like, it was normal for me to not only finance a phone, but to tell other people that I financed the phone. You understand? I didn't know there may have been people like me that were standing around and not really understanding that if if I announced out loud in public that I financed the phone, I just told a lot of people about my finances. Not the people. I'm not saying anything new to other people who finance phones. I'm saying a lot to maybe some people that understand you don't finance. Financing a phone is a that tells you about my financial problems because I'm financing a phone. And and I think about it. I'm making six figures and I'm financing my phone. Now, living in this perspective is not just all about capitalism being an illusion. It also shows other things too. Because after I asked God, it's many things, but after I asked God, I'm like, okay, what, I want to know my purpose. Why did I come? Why I chose to be a black man, blah, 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 right? So now that I can see capitalism for what it really is, it shows where black people are at inside of capitalism. And I can clearly see that we are at the bottom of the capitalism total pole. We are at the very bottom. And we're a long ways from, it's like, and this is, I like to give you examples of, so you guys can understand the distance of what it would take for black people to understand how capitalism works, and we won't be at the bottom. Okay. Think about all the Chinatowns throughout the United States of America. Not only just Chinatowns everywhere, they're on like prime pieces of real estate throughout the United States of America. Okay. Now these are like one gig, and I want people that don't understand, I want you to just imagine with me. Think of one big gigantic roof over all the Chinatowns, right? And then there's multiple Chinese businesses under that big roof. You understand? How long now it took them generations to do that. That wasn't an overnight process. They had to get through the Chinese Exclusion Act, stopping them from buying or living places and stuff, just like us. Same thing. But since they were being held back, they decided to create their communities, and they've been doing it for generations. They clearly understand how capitalism works. Do you know how many times when you go in there and spend $1, do you know how many times it goes through the within their system before it actually exits? Probably too many times to count. How long do you think it would take for black people to build black towns, just using black towns in the same areas as the Chinatowns are today, as we speak, right now, today, right now? How long? First we would have to join together because obviously, in order for the Chinese people to do that, they had to come together to even start the foundation. They have to start the foundation. They're obviously not financing things. They're obviously not doing that. Do you know how long that would take? I would have to live 3 lifetimes to see that happen. So I thought to myself, obviously that's not my purpose here either, because that would take too long. I would have to live 3 lifetimes to even see that kind of change. That's not it. This is me trying to figure it out, even though I'll never will. It's just my mind. That's just what the mind does. So, like just today, you just go, come on and tell the people just how I am, how it is. Capitalism is an illusion. It is. Don't believe me? Go ask 10 of your friends. Say, hey, tell me about capitalism, the economy. Listen, the economy that we are in. Okay. Tell me about capitalism. Nobody's going to give you the same answer. That's why it's an illusion. When I speak like I am from another perspective, they can't they can't hear me. Even though I say I can prove everything I'm saying with math, that doesn't matter because they taught us all the number line in elementary school. We didn't have to go to college to know. Nobody did. The number line was taught to 99% of us. I'm in awe. Millions of people. In a not only in a perspective, listen, that's how deep it is. That's so crazy to think about today. When I think about it, I was born in a perspective of capitalism. First of all, I didn't know it. And second of all, I didn't know it was a perspective. One thing, listen, even though I'm obviously seeing that there are other perspectives, look at Elon Musk, look at Warren Buffett, look at Jeff Bezos. Obviously, there are different perspectives. You think they're lucky? What you are seeing is the rewards for just following what's within themselves. That's it. I'm sharing with you guys right now. I know something that billions with a B do not know. Who else could tell me something like that? Nobody but God. Billions of people? This is true. This is fact. What I'm telling, this is fact. I'm not making that up. It's not a theory. It's not something I can't prove. Who else could tell me that? Nobody but God. People think, well, what religion? I don't believe in religion. I just said God, universe, whatever you want to say. Religion? Nope. Billions. But at the same time, I was thinking today, I asked AI, I said, how many videos are uploaded a day? Do you know there are billions of videos loaded every day? Billions. That's easy. That's an easy number because a single person could upload who knows how many. You times that by millions of people, that's billions. Easy. I'm like, how do I reach people through the platform? Because going to different cities on stages and stuff like that, that's a thing of the past. We're doing this is all over this is internet. This is the new age thing. Maybe that's down the line, but right when you start, nah, you need it somehow. So how do I do be different than billions of people? Be what I am. Just straight up just talk about as the gift that's given to me by God. Just talk about it. That's it. I'm obviously not here to change anything. I'm still listen, I'm still in awe. You guys don't even understand how it's it's like amazing. It's unfortunate for some. Some will because I know some will never wake up. Some will never because I know what it would be asking of a person to come out of that perspective. They would have to stop and unlearn everything they know about money and finances and credit and all this stuff. They have to unlearn all that and learn it from a different perspective. It's the same thing, same thing. Unlearn what they know from that perspective and come back and look at the same thing from a different perspective. That's all it is. The system already knows that even I would have never said it. I would have like when I was a debt slave, I would have never when I lived in the debt matrix, I would have never thought I could buy a house in cash. Okay? Never. I wasn't going to say it. I knew the only way I was going to get a house is a mortgage. Well, the system knows that. Just because people are not listen, just because I'm not saying it, and then I get it with a mortgage, and then I go around calling myself a homeowner, and I believe the equity in the house is mine, a house that I couldn't even afford to buy. I believe the equity in it is mine. Whose fault? That's my fault. I don't know. Listen, it don't even sound right when I say it to myself right now. I didn't have the money to buy the house, but I believe that the equity in the house is mine once I get a mortgage. That doesn't even make any sense. But that's part of the program. It's all part of the program. Millions of people are calling themselves homeowners like I did with a mortgage. Who knows how many times it's been refinanced? If I would have stayed in there, I was never getting out. Do you understand? Never. I was never getting out of something I didn't even know I was in. I would have been like, get out of what? What are you talking about? I'm living in my house. I'm driving my Lexus. I got my clothes and shoes and this and that. And I didn't buy any of it in cash, none of it. And I'm thinking I own it all. I believed I owned everything that I didn't have the money to buy. That's amazing to me because I consider it has nothing to do with smarts. It didn't matter because I had a college degree. Those are the worst ones. You guys think I'm making this up? There's $1.7 trillion of student loan debt. What does that tell you? That those are people that don't know. I was in that tobacco for 10 years. I didn't know that. I thought that was normal. No, it's not. The people that didn't go to college, and you think these people that went to college are smarter than you? One has nothing to do with the other. Nothing. The majority of people are in student loan debt. $1.7 trillion tells you that. They they have owners. You got to look at it from a different perspective. $1.7 trillion. They are owned. Investing in student loan Investing in student loan debt collection or whatever that stuff is called, I'm sure it's something going on. That's guaranteed money because they're never paying it off. Guaranteed money. Those people are not smarter than you. Those of you that didn't go to college, don't think because I got a computer engineering degree and I made six figures. Don't think I'm smarter than you because you've never made six figures. It ain't got nothing to do with that. Don't be impressed by that. If you're seeing like this is what I want you to do, because I'm gonna tell you something that I wish somebody would have told me. Say like you didn't go to college and your job is not as good as the person that did, right? And this person got a house and a car. Just go up to your buddy and say, "Hey man, are you making payments on that car?" They're gonna tell you yes. What about this? What about this house? You making mortgage payment? They're gonna tell you yes. They're probably gonna have the latest phone in their hand too. You're gonna say, "You finance that too?" Yes. They don't know. That's what that means. They're making six figures, college educated, and they don't know because it has nothing to do with that. I'm telling you something I wish somebody would have told me. I thank God that I was making six figures at the time I was getting out of debt, which allowed me to get out of debt faster. I'm not going to say fast, faster. Because guess what? Another thing I didn't realize, but I thank God for after the fact. I wasn't always going to be making six figures. One day that was going to stop. Here I am. If I didn't wake up, I would have been making six figures, six figures, six figures, living my six-figure life. And one day the six figures is going to stop because I'm getting older. Technology changes, whatever. Technology changes so fast too. Whew. And I just imagine get that tap on the shoulder one day. I'm deep in debt because I'm living six-figure life, and hey, we gotta let you go. And now you go from six figures to nothing to unemployment. Oh man, that is not good. That's not good. Six figures to unemployment, no more health care insurance, man. Now, if you hear me talk like this, it scares you. It should. But don't let it scare you in a negative way. Let it scare you in a positive way. Like why does it scare me? That's what you got to say to yourself. Why does that scare me? Like I was listening to this person the other day. This guy was this guy, a girl, one of the other. She was like, just imagine every single month we have to pay for one more month for shelter over our head. Every single here's some money. We get 30 more days. Okay, here's some money. We get 30 more days. I was like, I never heard it said to me like that. But the way she said it, I was like, and it never stops. No, the only person that can stop it is me. I'm the only person that can stop monthly rent. You can stop it, and buying one is not the only way. You can create a successful business, and you're paying rent with the business. It's the same thing. Because maybe you don't want to own a house. Maybe you just don't want to own a house. And you want to rent because you like them to fix everything, whatever, right? But if you got a successful business, your business is gonna pay your rent. Okay, it's a big difference in paying it yourself personally. It's not the same. An hourly wage is not the same as a business wage, business money, salary, whatever, income. I didn't know the people I were around, my friends. I didn't think about I mean, now that I think about it, we were all in the same perspective because we all had mortgages and car payments, and we thought it was normal. There must be debt because nobody has any money. Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's so funny. Just the way you say it too. Now it's funny. I mean, people pattern themselves after the country they live in. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. For sure. And like when I hear people now talk about other economies and the only place they've lived here and never left the United States of America, and they talk about other economies, I don't pay attention to people like that. Think about think about somebody that talks about other economies except the one they live in, and they're deep in debt, right? And I instantly know they're only telling me their perspective of it. Because there's only when it comes to capitalism, the only perspective that matters is the mathematical perspective. That's the only perspective that matters, the mathematical one. There are anything outside of the mathematical perspective is a perspective. Okay, is a perspective. All perspectives outside of the mathematical perspective are perspectives. So when you hear somebody talking about investing and they have a mortgage, they're telling you their perspective of capitalism. That person believes that they can invest in the stock market while having a mortgage, okay? They don't listen, this is the beautiful thing about living outside of that perspective. When I hear a person talk like that, they don't know that they're not making any mathematical sense because you can't do that. You can't invest in the stock market while having a mortgage. That's mathematically impossible. But when I hear people talk like that, they're just telling me their perspective of capitalism. They don't know that people like me exist. So it's not my place to say, hey, you can't do that. I'm not going to say that. There are many perspectives between the perspective where I live and the debt matrix perspective. If if I'm in an environment and people start talking like that, I know what perspective I'm in. And so I know what to say and what not to say. So if I'm there and I hear somebody talking about uh, they're investing while, and I know they have a mortgage or whatever, and we're sitting at a table and everybody's around talking about, I know not to jump in and say, hey, you can't do that because I know what perspective I'm in. I understand that there are an unlimited amount of perspectives of capitalism, unlimited. The debt matrix is just one single out of an unlimited amount. Do you understand? The people, the millions of people that are in this perspective, they don't know they are in a single perspective. So James? James says, LJ, have you heard of Claude Anderson? No, I have not. He's brilliant, knows all about group economics. No, I'll look him up. Claude Anderson. I will check him out. Thank you, sir. Claude covers similar things to what you're saying about Chinatown. Oh, okay. All right, most definitely. What's up, Raining Woman? So in order for I asked God, I'm like, how am I gonna make these videos stand out amongst billions of videos that are uploaded every day? What am I gonna do? Be who I am and talk about what it is and how I justify what I say with mathematics. So if anybody, again, nobody, I always agree, anything that comes with capitalism, I always agree with mathematics. I never disagree with it. So if anybody comes in and says otherwise or tries to talk about other things, they simply have a different perspective about disagreeing with the only perspective that matters in capitalism is mathematics. That's the only perspective. That's not true. You can, like, here, let me give an example. Speaking from the perspective in which I live, people that have mortgage rental properties, right? Some of those people believe they are making a monthly profit when math clearly says that they're not. All they have to do is open up the calculator, put in their monthly profit minus the rental mortgage balance. The calculator will clearly show them that they're not making any profit. They're just paying down the debt. That's it. They're not making any profit. But they will tell you how much they're profiting a month. The reason why they tell the reason why they say that to you, because you guys live in that perspective in which you believe that you can own something without buying it first. That's why they use words like equity, uh, when the value goes up, the appreciation of the house. That's why they use all those words. None of those words are money. Those are just words. We're 250 years in. This been here. This has been here. We can evolve as much as we want, but math stays the same. It doesn't care. Math doesn't care what year it is. Uh, it doesn't care which race uses it, black, white, Chinese, Jewish. Like when people always talk about, oh, the Jewish people, they're so smart. They just know how to use math. Do you understand? Being Jewish has nothing to do with it. Like when the people that don't understand that, if I was Jewish, I'd go with it too. Hey, you think we're so brilliant? Okay, cool. Hey, we are. Yes, sure, whatever. They just more of them use math. I guess more of them trust math. That's it. They're not special. Nobody's math doesn't care your religion. It doesn't care where you live, what you think about it, who uses it. It doesn't matter. That's why it's so beautiful. It doesn't matter. Like when I'm on TikTok, right? Sometimes I'm on TikTok and I see this Jewish guy come up there and say, he always starts off, "Hey, I'm Jewish and I take money and this and that." And I'm like, why do you start out with saying Jewish? Oh, you guys are just using that because being Jewish has nothing to do with it. Chinese people clearly understand. I can see them clear as day. They're clear as day. They're showing you invest. That's just the stuff we can see too. When you see Chinatowns and stuff everywhere, that's just the stuff we can see. Chinese restaurants everywhere. Been like that way all my life because I love Chinese food. The Asians are killing it. They're killing. They know not to finance shit everywhere. Finance everything. You if you create a successful business and don't owe any money on the business, you don't owe any money personally, and your business is successful, do you know how much money and how fast, and you're saving on taxes, all that? I would have never in a million years even look. I mean, when I go to like when I was in the debt matrix and I would go to Chinatown, right? I knew when I walk through there, all the business. I can't read any of the names of the businesses because they're all in Chinese, and that means this is them. This is their stuff. I mean, I clearly understand they own it, but this is their community, and they're letting me know that this is what it is because it's in their language. They might have to be forced every now and then, but much of it's in their language. I get it, totally get it. I know in my lifetime I won't see a black community, not in my lifetime, at least, like that. Because I understand now how long that would take for us to copy what the Chinese have done right now as we speak. It's clear to me when I see just different people from different countries come over here. The first thing they do is create a community. That's the first thing they do when they come here. Create a community, open up stores, open up businesses. It's in their language. What So I know to myself, this gift that God has given me, I'm like, okay, it's not that. It's obviously it has nothing to do with my skin color because I won't live long enough to see that kind of for us to catch up with the Chinese are doing today. That takes generations. There's no man. First, you got to come together, be like-minded, then understand business, understand taxes. I understand that the majority of people are never going to wake up. I understand that. I understand it doesn't matter who it is. It could be my family, it could be my kids. It doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter who it is. Like when I was in the debt matrix, I thought, man, I'm gonna start a business and then I'm gonna put my family in there and then we're gonna grow it. That's TV. When you hear people, oh, I'm gonna start a business and all my mom, my sisters, and uncle, that's TV people. That your family has to understand how business works. Everyone got to understand what you have to do. That none of that is true. Good luck. And I'm gonna tell you something that's gonna save you a lot of time. If you're an entrepreneur right now, and you decide you're going to, this is from a perspective outside of the perspective in which you live. If you live in the debt matrix perspective, if you're an entrepreneur and you have goals of creating your own businesses, your own business and businesses, maybe what right, and you're thinking about adding your family members, mom, dad, uncle, sister, brothers, look, watch how those family members run the business of themselves right now before you add them. Watch how they treat people because watch how they treat people running the business of themselves because if you add them to your business, that's how they're going to treat your customers. Watch how those family members do their finances. Are they running from the repo man? Are they hiding? They can't get some taxes. They're going to bring those financial habits into your business if you do that. Those people do not understand how taxes work. And they will, if you put it this way, let me give you an example. Say like you started a business, right? And you brought in a family member, okay, as 50% partner, okay, and you guys already you already did a trial error on this business, and you know it's going to be good. And soon as you get in there, you start making all kinds of money. Boom, customer money's coming in, right? But then your family member is getting so high off the money, they start spending as fast as it's coming in, totally forgetting about the money that's earned. You got to pay taxes on that money, but they don't care. They don't. Hey man, this is 50% mine. I can do it what I want. Da, 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 right? And 8 months in, you've had enough. You've had enough. You're like, okay, they're not hardly here. They're not showing up on time. They're not doing the things I tell them to do. And then you guys separate. At the end of the year, the IRS is not going to care about what happened between you and your family member. They're going to want their money off the money that you made during that year. They're going to want that money. And if you don't have that money, you're going to get penalized. Do you understand? Until it's all paid back. You're penalized until it's all paid back. But the year is still rolling. Your business is still going. You're still making the new money that you're making. You're going to have to pay taxes on that next year's money that's already started. That has nothing to do with the past money that you didn't have for the year before. So you got to have the new money and the old money. And I'm new into business. Let me tell you something. I'm new into business. And as far as thank God I became debt free first before I got into business. Thank God. Thank God. I know for a fact, and this is what made me realize this. Because the first couple of years, you got to get your groove. You got to say, okay, quarterly taxes. There's some things you got to do. You can't just, even if the business is doing good, you can't just start spending money. You gotta ride it, right? I know for a fact, I can only imagine how many people are that owe back taxes. There's got to be millions of people. It has to be. This is why they don't put it on credit reports. I noticed that. Like when I look at, because I've looked at many people's credit reports, and they even told me they owe taxes, but taxes they don't show on credit reports. I think if they did, everybody would know. You would know immediately how many people are in tax debt because it'd be all over the place. Like it would be like student loan debt. You could see it on credit reports, but tax debt is not on credit reports. They don't really, and I understand why they don't really have to. They don't have to be there because as soon as you go get a job and use your social security number, they know exactly where you're at. That's how the system is designed. That's why you need your social security number to work. My social security number, listen to how I say this too. My social security number is the EIN number for the business of myself. My social security number is the EIN number for the business of myself to participate in capitalism in the United States of America. That's the rules. Now, if you're listening to this first time and you were born in the debt matrix perspective like I was, it's difficult to hear. You're probably not even going to believe it, and you don't even have to, because your mind will have to be strong. It will have to be strong. And the only thing I did when I was struggling to get out, I just kept trusting math and God. Math says I don't have any money. Math says I don't have any money. I know the people around me, they look like they're living good, but they're not. They're not. They don't know it. I had to start reiterating this stuff in my mind. I understand why there are mortgages, because if it wasn't mortgages, the housing market wouldn't exist because it couldn't exist. I get it. Totally get it. But I had to keep saying that in my mind. No, I really can't save for retirement if I'm in debt. I can't. I had to reiterate and reiterate and reiterate, and then finally just went in there like neuroplasticity. Now, when I see people in nice cars, living in nice homes in nice neighborhoods, 99% of those people have mortgages. It doesn't. I understand. It doesn't matter where debt slaves live, what neighborhood they live in. It doesn't matter. You can have a mortgage in a rich neighborhood and have a mortgage in a poor neighborhood. It doesn't matter. The reason why the person in the rich neighborhood is is, is living in a nice neighborhood with a mortgage, because they're making more. That debt slave is making more money. The one with the mortgage in the poor neighborhood is making less money. That's why they live there. That's it. They're both still debt slaves. They both still own nothing. It doesn't matter. One just making bigger monthly payments than the other. It doesn't impress me. I don't care if they're driving a Range Rover, Ferrari. Uh, when somebody looks like that, it doesn't matter what it looks like. If they're making payments, it doesn't matter. It makes the driver irrelevant. So don't, if you're a person telling you things that wish somebody would have told me, if you're a person that you're driving an older car but it's paid off, and other people around you are driving newer cars because they're making payments, you must ignore them. They don't know. Don't judge them. Anybody making car payments, that just means they don't know. That's it. That is what helped me not judge debt slaves. I don't judge them because they just don't know. Just they don't know. Just like me. I was college educated, computer engineer, and I simply did not know. That's it. I'm not smarter than anybody. I'm telling you right now. I'm just going by the number line. That's it. The calculator. That's it. Nothing special. I would have never in a million years known, without the help of God, never in a million years known that the debt matrix is a perspective of capitalism. Never. Never. It comes with, when you don't get to select it. I don't get to selective C either, because some of these people are family, friends, co-workers, people that you care about and like. Those people are in it too. It doesn't matter. You can't say anything unless they ask. I'm not going to, like, you hear me talking about it right now. I can, like, I understand, like, money is an illusion. I can prove it. I can literally prove it. Like, for example, think back in the 70s when President Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard or something like that, and people were like, "Oh my God, everything changed." No, you know who backs the dollar? Debt slaves back the dollar. People back the dollar. Gold doesn't back the dollar. Gold is made by Earth. The planet makes gold. The debt matrix perspectives backs the dollar. That's what backs the dollar. That's clear. When you hear people like, "Oh, all this money is, look at the debt clock and all this other stuff." It's like, wow, that's just made up stuff. Well, honestly, when I see, like, when I go to the debt clock thing, I don't even know what that's for. I think to myself, okay, what does well, first of all, I know every single person that goes and looked at that is going to have a different perspective. That's number one. So everybody's perspective of this clock is going to be different, right? And you see, I see this running clock, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, if I was a debt slave and I come to this page and I see this running clock, what does that clock mean to me? Okay, United States is going into debt faster and faster. I'm like, I say to myself, if we decided we're not going to pay anybody back, this is how I think too, okay? If if the US decides to say, hey, we know we owe you, but we're not paying you nothing, what are anybody going to do? Nothing. They can't do anything if we decide we're not going to pay back anybody. So what is it to say that we owe, hey, we're billions of dollars in debt to whoever, right? We could say that, right? That would be a bad move, but as far as trading and getting along with the rest of the world, but we could. So what is the reason for saying that we owe that much money? We're not going to see one day say, hey, all right, everybody, we paid back all the debt. Now we're to zero. We know that's not going to ever happen because the number goes up every year. So we know it's not going to ever be zero. So what is the purpose of keeping track of this number getting bigger and bigger and bigger? Fear? Saying a large number, knowing that it's never going to happen. I'm still, I understand that there are unlimited amount of perspectives. That means I don't really know which perspective I'm in currently, but I know it's far away from the debt matrix perspective. I do know that. So I say to myself, why do they do that? I don't get it. Do they do they say big numbers because that's a number that most people in the debt can't even well, they can't comprehend it because they've never had any money in their lives. Most of them never had any money. When you hear a person living in their house for like say 30, 35 years and they're still paying on a mortgage, now when somebody mentions that, says something like that, and they're still paying a mortgage, that says a lot. Because as you age, your money's not going to keep continuing to go up. It's gonna go down, and then one day it's going to stop. But you're going to still have the same mortgage. When I'm in that perspective, if I'm at a friend's house and they say how long they've been living there, and they mention a mortgage because people they think it's normal to have a mortgage, right? They mention a mortgage. I'm like, man, you live 20 years. I'm not saying this out loud. I'm saying this in my mind. This person doesn't know what they're saying. I say that to myself because it prevents me from judging people that don't know. It really does. It prevents me from doing that. If you've been in a if I've been in a house calling myself a homeowner for 30 years and I'm still paying on the mortgage, I obviously don't know. Especially since I don't know it only takes one day to buy a house. Now, imagine somebody that has been paying, and this is why this knowledge is not for everybody because it could literally be not good for a person. Imagine a person that's been paying on a mortgage for 30 years and then they wake up and realize it only takes a day to buy a house. Like really understand it, not the day they're told it to, like not the day that they're told it, because you can't tell a person with a if I said that to a if I said that to a person with a mortgage, hey, you do know it only takes one day to buy a house, they won't know what I mean. Or they'll say, oh, if you're rich or this and that. No, rich has nothing to do with it. That's the only way to buy a house. You either have the money or you don't. They won't understand that because I'll be speaking from a different perspective. Same thing, same house, same situation. This is the beautiful thing about perspective. There are millions of people that call themselves homeowners with mortgages, millions every day. Homeowners. When math clearly tells them that they're not, okay? The home right next to them was paid in cash by me. I bought a house right next to the person with the mortgage, but I bought my house in cash, and I'm calling myself a homeowner. Okay. I know I'm a homeowner, but my neighbor believes they're also a homeowner like me. Same houses, different perspective, but the only difference between those two perspectives, mine is the correct perspective. My perspective of the same house and two of the same houses in the same neighborhood, same value, same everything, identical everything, right? But the only perspective of homeowner that is valid is mine. But the one with the mortgage, he doesn't know that because he or she lives in the debt matrix perspective, which they don't know anything in there. I would never come over to my neighbor and say, "Hey, you're not a homeowner like me." I wouldn't even say that. They might the subject, it counts on what type of neighbors I have, but the subject of mortgages might come up. I might even lie and say I have a mortgage. You probably think, why would I do that? Because if I live next to a person, this person has a mortgage and I don't, they're going to think I'm rich. They're going to start trying to calculate my money, and this is why you just sometimes if I don't want to deal with any of that kind of stuff, I might just do that. Because in the back of their mind, they know this is what the market is based on fear. They know they will never be able to. The majority already know, whether they want to say it or not, especially the ones with student loans older than the mortgages. They know that they're never going to be able to buy a house in cash or pay the house off that they're in. They won't say it, and they will continue to call themselves homeowners. To continue. That's what the housing market is based on. Fear. You better hurry up. You're going to lose out. The mortgage rates, property values are going up. You better hurry up. They don't have any. It doesn't matter the speed in which it's going up. It doesn't matter at all because they don't have any money to buy it at any price. It's all an illusion. It's all part of the illusion of capitalism. Housing prices don't matter. Phone prices don't matter. They don't. Like, think about the price of an iPhone. The price of the iPhone doesn't matter because they don't have the money to buy it, even if it was $500. The price of the phone guarantees that they'll finance it. It guarantees it. So if the phone comes out for $1,700, it guarantees that the debt slaves will find them when they don't have the money to buy anything at any price. But at $1,700, it guarantees that they'll finance them because they don't have the money in cash. Because it's always the phone. This is what's so beautiful about it. It's the price of the phone plus the taxes on the phone. So they finance the phone and they finance the taxes of the cost of the phone at an interest rate over months or years or however long they're financing the phone. So the price of the phone is not only something $100, it's going to be different for every single person every single debt slave that finances it, because it's going to go according to their interest rate of their credit card, how long they do it, if they do it over years. And that system is designed. If I didn't wake up, it's designed to never let me out. That's what it was designed to do. Keep having me investing in money that I don't have. Get a Have me believing that I own a house that I didn't buy. Have me driving a car. It's no different than. I mean, it's brilliant. Like, imagine all the Teslas that are driving around on the road. 99% of those Teslas are financed. All of them believe that they're saving money on gas. Hey, look, all you got to do is go and watch the videos. Hey, I'm saving, I'm plugging up at home. They have a financed Tesla in their financed house, plugging in the electricity at the house and thinking they're saving money. They don't even own the plug that they're plugging into the car. They're making videos about it. This tells you this is a perspective in which I live. It's just amazing to watch. They really believe they're saving money. They're waiting in lines to charge the car. It's bananas. Hey, look, I'm watching TV and Netflix in my car, and I'm playing video games, and I'm driving with no hands. It's programmed to drive you to work, and it's programmed to drive you home with no hands. Who cares if you're going straight to work and home with no hands? You're still sitting in traffic. It doesn't matter. You're still going to work. It doesn't matter. Even more now in a Tesla. I guarantee you the bank's going to require these electric cars to have a device in there that can auto repossess itself. Auto drive it to wherever they tell it to drive to automatically. If they get, like, today, in our days, our Tesla technology was some kind of disabled thing, to where if they don't pay the car note, the car don't start or something like that, right? Now they're going to be driving themselves back to the bank or wherever the repo place is at. Tow truck drivers won't even be needed. They're going and they're going to tell, listen, it doesn't even matter. The banks are going to require it. This is just my prediction, right? The banks are going to require this be put into the car. They're going to notify the sell or the buyer. They're going to know, because they're going to have to sign all that paperwork. They're not going to really care, because they don't have no choice, because they can't get the car without the permission from the bank. Without the bank's help, they cannot buy Teslas. Okay, they can't skip. It's not like they can skip the bank and buy a Tesla. They can't. So sooner or later, that's going to be built in and say, hey, you don't make your payments, your car is going to drive itself back to whatever. Are you cool with that? They have to say yes, or else they don't get the car. So if you fall behind, three months payments, the car, one day you're gonna wake up, it's just not gonna be there. No towing needed, nothing. Because you're probably thinking to yourself, oh, I'll just hide it and lock it behind another car. Whatever. That means you can never drive that car ever. You can't drive it anywhere, because they can just take it at any time. So you must, if you get fall behind on your payments, you better block it in. You can't drive it anywhere. Let it go dead. It This is clear to me. Why not? None of this works without the majority sharing the debt matrix perspective. None of it. There are an unlimited amount of perspectives of capitalism. Unlimited, because every single person in the world has their own perspective of capitalism. And there's only one perspective, the mathematical perspective. There's only one single perspective. They have multiple perspectives off of that perspective, but the base perspective, the main perspective of capitalism is mathematics, period. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to have this knowledge. It grows every single day, more and more. Each day it's different. It's different just even walking around in my daily life, seeing what's happening around me. Just like the movie, the 1999 movie The Matrix, where everybody's walking around them in their downtown and stuff like that. It's like that for me today. Everybody's on the go, hustle, 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 looking at their phones. Nobody's saying anything to each other, never looking up once to see anything, what's happening in the present. Because soon, as soon as me included, as soon as I look into my phone, now I want you guys to listen to me closely. As soon as I look into my phone, I'm no longer in the present moment. I'm no longer sitting in the chair in my house, uh, looking at the sun come through the window, not listening, not cleaning up something I needed to clean up. I'm no longer there because I can't be looking through my phone and being in the present moment. So once I look through my phone, I'm no longer in the present moment. I'm wherever that phone takes me. I might be looking at something and then a robbery in another country, and then some cats and some dogs, and then some wild animals, and then some fish, and then a piranha fish, and then watch a fish eat other, then investing and business funding and fix your credit. It never stops, ever. No, I did not drop the link. It never stops. The only person that can stop it is me. I have to turn the phone off. Stop. Put down. I catch myself and I'm aware of it. I'm aware that my phone is the entrance into the who there's an unlimited amount of perspectives inside of there. When the only perspective that matters is the mathematical perspective and my perspective of it. TikTok, when you're over there, man, I hope you're being careful. If you're on TikTok, I hope you're being careful. What do you say, Claude Anderson? Yeah, I'm gonna look that up as soon as I'm done here. Sub dark phobia. I don't do as much as I used to, sir, when it comes to but you can see a lot of old stuff in there that people that are new to the channel, I really encourage you to go back to like my old videos so you guys can see my progression from then till now till today. And then that'll give you more of an idea of how I am or how I got here today. What's up, Mecca? Appreciate that, dark phobia. just trying just trying to get out of debt, 3 years left to I fell off back on. You know what? And this is what I want you to, when that happens, okay? So you don't think that you're the only one that did that. Okay, so you don't think like that because that's part of the mind trick to keep you inside the debt matrix. Oh, look, you wasn't strong enough. You couldn't do it or whatever. That's all debt. The best way I can describe that, that's called debt slave chitter chatter to keep you there. The debt matrix is not going to let you go easy. You're not the only one that did that. You're not ever going to be the only one to fall. But one second. Once you even know dark phobia, once you even know about getting out of debt, it's too late. You can't go back to the way it was, just being in debt and in sleep and walking through life and thinking you own no. The fact that you even know that you fell off, that should tell you something because the majority of people that are in debt, they don't even know that they're there. Like me. I thought it was normal to be in debt every day of my life, right? So the fact that you know is progress. That's the hardest part. To know you're in debt. When you fall off, it's not like you're going to stay there. You can't. It's too late. You know. Every purchase you're going to do, you're going to be thinking about it. You're going to be like, you're going to see the debt adding up and it's going to keep calculating in your brain until you're going to say, okay, that's enough. Let me do this. So just always remember, you're not alone. Always be aware of the debt slave, the debt matrix chitter chatter. Everything that's going to try to keep you inside of the debt matrix perspective. Yeah, let me put this up. See if you guys have any questions. Copy. Put that up there. If you guys have any questions before I jump off this thing. I'm making videos and I always have make videos. My videos are going to withstand the hands of time because there will always, as long as capitalism here, the majority will always be in debt. Okay, always. It doesn't really matter. AI, us as humans created AI, for example, right? So AI only knows what humans have told it. It can just access human information faster than a single human brain. Okay, that's all that is. AI will not be able to mimic what I do because it doesn't know about what I do. You understand? Because humans haven't told that. Well, I take that back. Maybe there are very few selective AI systems that the average person don't have access to use. I take that back. But as far as the public goes, access to AI, no, it's not going to know because we haven't told it. AI only knows and does what humans do, what we tell it to know, whatever, right? And that means it doesn't know what we don't tell it. You're probably thinking, well, LJ, what does that mean? What do you mean that we only know? Okay, say like this. Say like you ask AI, say, hey, what's the latest flight patterns of the U.S. Air Force when they do military? It's not going to be able to tell you. You know why? Because we don't tell it that type of information. You understand? So it's not going to know. How come it doesn't know? Because it's not supposed to know. Because we said so. That's how it is. That's how the information I have is. It doesn't know because we didn't tell it. Is it working? Are you able to join? I'm not sure. Wait, let me see. I don't see you. I don't see anybody. Let me make sure it's not trying to sign you in or something because sometimes it be trying to do that kind of stupid. It's not trying to make you sign into anything, is it? Oh, here it is. Okay. All right, there you go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me,
I,
LJ?
I can hear you, sir. I can hear you. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it.
Hey, brother. Thank you for having me. I appreciate all you do. You're a super cool dude.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that very much. I really do mean that.
Well,
How long you been listening to me, follow me or whatever?
oh man, at least like 3 or 4 years.
Oh wow.
I did at least one session with you, so I know you charge like 200 an hour. So just having me talking to you, I appreciate that.
You're welcome, sir. You're very welcome. Very welcome, man. How's life been for you since everything, since knowing this kind of stuff? How's life been for you?
It's pretty good. I had a 5 year plan.
Yeah,
I had
tell me about the thing. I love to hear these kind of stories. So I
it
can
would
tell you, just part of your journey. But go ahead.
it would take a very long time to tell the whole story, but basically I had like a 5 year plan to get out of debt. So I'm 2 years into that, doing pretty good. Had a couple, bumps in the road, but
Mhm.
we're staying on track. 3 more years, and we should be through it.
Now you say we, it's you and your wife, girlfriend, what?
It's my future wife. I'm
Okay,
kind of more focusing on me right now because I got my career going. She's
got
still
it.
in school, so she's got the loans.
No, I heard you
We're
saying we. That's why I was saying that. You saying we almost paid down. You was talking like that, so that's why I asked.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, me,
Yeah,
just me. It's about 3 years, and then we're gonna work on her.
gotcha.
She's just got the student loans, nothing, no credit cards, nothing crazy
Okay,
like that.
okay.
Um, but it's going good, man. Like I said, couple mess ups,
And how old are you?
I'm sorry.
How old are you?
I'm 37.
Oh shit, yeah. Okay, you good. You good. Don't even. I know when you're 37, it sounds like you're old or something, but you're not. You're on track. You're on track. I didn't wake up till like 43, so you're on track.
I'm super excited. I'm just like uh I don't know. It's a really weird. It's a very quiet perspective, I would say.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Um,
It gets quieter too, especially when you keep going. It's gonna get quieter.
yes, like friends and family, not really. You don't really. I like the Discord. I hop in there once in a while. It's been a minute, but I'm gonna start getting back in the Discord, starting to get back on my game. So I'm just gonna keep at it. Not really a whole lot to say other than it's just you just got to keep getting paying off the debt and then don't get back into it.
Well, yeah, like and I'm glad you came on here and even told me that you fell off because that's important, man. So you don't feel like a failure and you didn't just don't even that's all part of the trick. And it doesn't matter, like I said in the text. I said once you know it's too late. You're on now. You're awake now.
Yep.
So it doesn't matter if you fall off because every minute you're there, you're gonna be like, man, wish I shouldn't have did this, and that. It's gonna keep bugging you till you just did what you did. Get back on it. That's it. It's too late. You can't go back.
Yeah, the thing was is that living your whole life a certain way, like with like my version was the same, like I've heard you say it, like payments. My version of buy was payments.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of reprogramming your mind, your spirit and your body is really difficult to do. It's a lot easier said than done.
Yes, for sure.
um but like you're saying, once you see it, you accept it. It's not something that goes away.
Nope.
It
Your whole,
um
honestly, what the perspective in which I live, because it's all about perspectives, and the perspective in which I live is very far away from that perspective, right? And it's going to change more. I try not to go past that as far as you're in. Like right now, getting out of debt is going to be just the first part of your journey, right? This part is just owning yourself. You got to feel it. Don't go too far past that because you still got to. You have to see what it feels like to actually be free. Like your credit report says zero. Like mine says unscorable. because it's nothing. I've never even heard of unscorable until one day I logged in. It said unscorable. I was like, unscorable. Oh, that's what Dave Ramsey was talking about. I was like, oh, okay. But after you own yourself, even more things are going to happen as you personally, you and your girlfriend. If things are just gonna just change, the people around you are not gonna care how they're gonna feel about your change because you're gonna know what you did to earn this change, and you're going to disregard if they don't like it because it's not going to matter because they didn't earn it. They have to earn it. So it's going to be more. Just keep doing what you're doing. Don't worry about falling off because, like I said, once your eyes are open, it's too late. It doesn't matter. You're hooked now. It's too late.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel pretty good. I feel just on the program. Just got 3 years left to go. Get the student loan down, and then my future wife here. She's in the other room here.
Mhm.
She's gonna have a lot more student loans because she's going for like an advanced degree. So that's gonna take a while, but we'll have a big shovel, like Dave Ramsey says, to work out of there. Um, and that the crazy thing, like unscorable, like you're saying, like Dave Ramsey says, like he can cut a check to buy an apartment complex, but he
Mhm.
can't rent a unit there because he doesn't have the credit.
Right. It is pretty funny. It is pretty funny. I told people the other day I'm with this bank that I've been with them for like 18 years.
Uh-huh.
Okay. My accounts there, business and personal accounts been there. Never messed up anything, nothing, just never 18 years. And then I went to go try to get a credit card and they
Uh-huh.
denied me.
Wow.
Blew me away. And I wanted to see this for myself because I didn't know. I wanted to know what it was like to try to apply for a credit card with no credit, right? Because I've never experienced that before. So I said, well, I'm thinking to myself, I've been with them for 18 years. There's no way they're going to deny me. They see my
Right.
money, they see everything, right? They see.
Right. Yeah.
And they said, nope, sorry, because you have no credit history. I was like, oh, you guys really don't care. It doesn't matter. Nope, doesn't matter.
That's bonkers, man.
That,
Because they
that
they
blew,
could
blew me away. They
that
can see
that's
everything. They can see everything. They know if they gave me a credit card that they would get their money. They know it, right? But they said, sorry, nope.
well, I got one credit card, only one, and I haven't paid interest since 2020. November 2024 is the last day I paid interest.
Mhm.
Um, so I paid it off. I paid the balance off, and then I checked my score and it went down. And I was like, wait a minute. I was like scratching my head, like, wait a minute. I just paid you guys. I bought a laptop, painted off,
Because
and
you're
my
not
score
playing
goes
right.
down.
They penalize you for not playing right. They're penalizing you for not
How
playing
does
the
that
game right.
that makes no sense to me, but it is what it is. It's their
But I,
game,
I
and
have one credit card too, but I've had this credit card since I was in the debt matrix. That's the only reason why I still have it because
okay.
I've had it since I was in the debt matrix. Thank God I kept it. So as you get out, pick if you got one credit card, keep it good.
Yeah.
That's the one you get because it makes things convenient. Don't get me wrong. There's a purpose for credit cards. There really is in the system. So keep it because you're probably not going to be able to get another one.
No, no, probably not. No.
So keep that one good, and all you need is one. One is good for me. I don't use it all the time. It just makes things convenient for when credit card. Certain places. If I'm like if I need to go charge something and the area is not iffy or whatever, right? I'll pull out the credit card because if there's any scamming going on, my credit card company got trillions of dollars and they take care of me in like 5-10 minutes compared to my debit card. You got to go through this whole process and all this other stuff. And it's just not
Yep.
worth it.
That's
I
right.
use I use it as insurance. So use my credit card in all the places. So if it gets hacked, it's not really a big deal. It's my credit card. It's replaced in 10 minutes, because they know my pattern. They know your credit card company knows that you understand how it works because they can see your pattern. That the average person is not paying off their credit card every month and not they're paying interest. You're not. So they know that you know.
Yep. Yep. And you know what? The other thing I wanted to tell you, just this way of I guess you would consider it an self-aware debt slave, I guess.
Mhm.
Just being in this perspective has helped me a lot in life. Like it's helped me with my work tremendously,
Mm, mm.
uh just kind of keeping my mouth shut and kind of just ignoring some stuff, and just being like, yep, I just tell myself like, yep, that's the way it goes. It's business. That's the way it goes. I just
So,
I keep saying that, but it's helped me a lot in my work, just this
yeah,
type of
how is it?
perspective.
Talk about that because I want people to hear that. How is working at a job for you with this awareness? Because I want people to hear that.
uh, the way I talk to people, like I'm a building inspector, so I do a lot of different types of buildings. And kind of when I talk to people, I just call them like, oh, you're the homeowner, or like you're the business owner. And because I know that perspective, and it kind of makes, people feel good. It would make me feel good.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then I kind of just like, I realize I have no control over what other people do or say to me. Like a lot of people get really mad. I get screamed at. I've been pushed.
Oh,
But I,
as a
yeah, because
building
you,
inspector?
um, but then I realized like I can control myself. I
Right.
can control my decisions. I can't control other people, what they do, what they say.
Mhm.
That's fine. But I can control myself. And I kind of just remember that little nugget of
Can I ask
wisdom.
you something real quick? So would they get
Yeah.
so as a building inspector, they just get mad at your assessment or something and then try to get physical with you like that? Is that what like a
Well,
situation?
well, like think about it. If you have like you're trying to open a business or build a house and you try to cut corners and you get caught, you
Okay.
know, and you get called out on it and it
Uh-huh.
stops you. It's a big problem for them and they get really mad because now they're
Because
losing
they're
money.
breaking but they're breaking the rules.
Yes, yes, people have tried to bribe me.
Oh.
Just it's real, man.
So they get mad at you because you caught them breaking the rules.
Yes, like if there's a problem with the project and I'm like, "Hey guys, I stop doing what you're doing. You need to do this instead." And then they'll lie, they'll complain to my boss, but I'm
And
just
how do you
always
handle that today as the aware person? And like a situation like that, how do you handle those situations today as the person you are now?
I listen, I let them talk. I'm just very polite and quiet, kind of like, I've had some bad relationships in the past, and like I would kind of feed back into them, like I would maybe raise my voice too or get mad. Sometimes I would tell people comments like, well, if you knew how to do your job, then we
Okay.
wouldn't be having this conversation. But instead I'm just kind of like more at peace. That's the only way I can describe it. I'm just like, oh, okay, um are you done? Like, because you still need to do this. I'll listen to you, but I'm not, doesn't mean I'm gonna agree with you. So I'm just like a lot more quieter and calmer. Not a lot really needs to be said, I guess, when you're in
Wow,
this
man. No, this is wow, wow, okay. Wow.
um but yeah, it's just really helped me. I mean, I went to, like, kind of like you, I started with Dave Ramsey. I still watch Caleb Hammer. I know you're not his biggest fan, but I still watch him. I not as much as I used to, but I watch him. I watch there's other channels I watch. So I watched all your videos. My favorite one is Butterfly Cocoon. Um
I made a lot of videos.
and but yeah, it's just going really well. I just gotta stay on track and stop veering off course, I guess. But it's helped me in my whole life, my personal, my dating, my professional. Because
Mm,
when you're not stressed out about, like, worried about your credit card payment or your car
right,
payment or whatever,
right.
um you're just kind of more at peace. Like, I'm cool, like, and if there's a problem, I'll just deal with it, the yeah.
No, you know what? That's beautiful to hear because that's where I'm right. I remember going through what you're talking about, right? That's why I'm so just like, wow, okay, it's just to hear you talk about it because I've been through it, right? Because I'm at 100% peace right here, at 100%
Yeah, yeah.
peace. I have nothing, and I remember feeling the way you're describing it. But to hear the words out of your mouth, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like I didn't know at the time, but I can remember it just felt very peaceful. I didn't get in. If somebody was emotional, I didn't immediately follow it back with it. I just didn't feed back
Yep.
into it. I'm like, oh no, I don't want to be part of that. You know, I'm not into any of that. And just the way you're describing it, it's beautiful, man. That's what it is, peace. And you're eventually going to be here where I'm saying I'm at, right? And now I understand how much work I had to do to get here. So I wouldn't let anybody disturb it now. It just does. And those people that it's easy to be at 100% peace for me, it's easy for me to see people who are not. So I can see them really quick. And so I
Yep.
can stop them from entering anywhere in my peaceful realm. So
That's right.
and it doesn't matter who it is. That's another thing I had to be strong with. Family members, I've had to remove family members because they were disturbing my peace. So I had to do it. It was no choice. It was either let them stay in there and disturb my peace or remove them. And I'm so glad I did it because it doesn't matter how they feel about it because I had to earn this. So those were tough things that I had to learn. I didn't, but I had to because I would never be able to be here where I'm speaking to you right now, where I'm at, because I wouldn't know it exists because I would have not allowed it to exist to be 100% peace. I didn't know this place existed, but now I do. But it's easy for me to protect it now because I had to earn it. So I see a person trying to disturb it, no matter who it could be my mother. I'm like, hey, yeah, don't talk like that because you just won't see me anymore if you keep talking like that. And I mean it. It doesn't matter if they understand it because they're never going to understand it because most of those people never had peace. They don't even know it exists. And to hear you speaking like that is just amazing. It's beautiful. I love to hear it.
Well, I appreciate you, LJ. I'm gonna be booking a session soon, sooner rather than later.
All right,
So,
sir. Yeah, you got my email. Just email me.
I will. Thank you. I'll let you go, LJ. I know you've been on for a minute.
Oh, that's
Have a
all
good
right,
night.
man. You know what? I'm always have time to hear stories like yours, really, because they're rare. You already know it's rare, right?
Yep.
So and it's going to get even more rare. So these kind of meetings are very important to me at least, because I feel like if I have a place here for you to be able to talk about this kind of stuff that's going through yourself right now, because you can't tell anybody. There's very few people you
No.
can talk to this about, right? But if
Yeah.
I have if I have be here as an outlet for you to speak to, knowing that I'm understanding everything you're saying, it's going to help you along with your journey. Because you need to release some, talk about some stuff that you're experiencing. You're like, wow, this is different, but you don't have nobody to talk to it about, right? You can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
The average person is just not going to know. So I'm trying to create that space.
You're absolutely right. There's almost nobody to talk about. My fiance here, like I was kind of having trouble communicating this to her, but what made sense is something you said, and you talked about someone that, like, let's say they have, and this is not exactly how you explained it, but like someone that has a credit card with $10,000 in debt, and then they go and they buy like a Louis Vuitton belt. They swipe, 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 and they buy the belt. How did they buy the belt? It might as well be photoshopped in there. And when I said that, I think I was just like, oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Because it's all when it's like neuroplasticity. This is what I believe it is, right? I fully understand now that they own nothing. This is what makes them an illusion. They own nothing. They own nothing. They can buy nothing. Even money is an illusion. It's literally like this is literal, right? I've accepted that now. So now when I see stuff, it doesn't make me jealous. I don't think anybody's ahead of me. I'm behind. I should have caught up. Those people don't know. It's like the Matrix movie. The people walking in the background when they're in the downtown scene. It's like that. Nothing impressed me if they have a better job, if they're a doctor or lawyer. It doesn't matter. Just live into it. You're going to live. You're going to accept it. and then you're going to start creating your world, your perspective of the world around knowing this information. That's how it's going to happen. Eventually, a job isn't, you're not going to be able to stay at a job because there are going to be too many people walking around telling debt slave stories, and it's going to drive you crazy. And then you're going to create something of your own. It's going to naturally happen because you're not going to be able to stay at a job because time is going to be the most important thing. You're going to realize that you're not going to live forever. Being in debt kept me from forgetting that. But once you get 100% peace, you will be like, oh, wait a minute, I'm going to die one day? Holy shit. Okay. Let me, that's what those things are. Those are graveyards. Oh my God. Those are, then you'll never forget that, but it'll be a good thing because you'll live your life very differently. You're not going to let anybody waste your time. You don't care who they are. I'm happy for you, man. I truly am. I truly am happy for you and your girlfriend. I'm truly happy for you guys. Glad you guys are working together.
Thank you, LJ. Have a good night, brother.
All right, sir.
Bye.
Thank you for joining. Appreciate it. That was good. I haven't had a session like that in a while. We say, Tracy, I was doing everything you have been talking about it, but it was only out of fear because I was too far away from home. Now that you have broken everything down, the fear went away. This is how I say fears. Fears, false evidence appearing real psychologically. False evidence. It's all designed to keep you in the perspective of the debt matrix. It's not going to let you go easy. It's not going to let you go, for sure. I'm the same age, trying to do the same, get out of debt. The only debt I have are student loans. I want to buy a house. I wish I could buy cash, but I think I might get a 15-year mortgage. I'm going to read that slow. Let me read that slow. I'm the same age, trying to do the same. I'm trying to get out of debt. The only debt I have is student loans. I want to buy a house. I wish I could buy cash, but I think I might get a 15-year. So this is what you're saying, Mecca, and this is not to make you feel bad or anything. I'm gonna come from a different perspective. Okay. I want to get out of debt, but I'm in debt because I have student loans. I can never buy a house because I have student loans. I'll never be able to buy a cash because I have student loans. But so since I have student loans and I can never buy a house cash, I'm gonna go further in debt with a mortgage, with a 15-year mortgage. Since I don't have the money to buy a house because I can't buy a house because I have student loans. That is what you're saying, Mecca. That's what you're saying. So I'm gonna go further in debt because I'm already in debt. That's all part of the program. That's all part of the debt matrix perspective. Cash is the only way to buy a house. There is no other way to buy a house. Cash is the only way to buy a house. There is no other way. A mortgage is called financing. I don't believe America is in debt after 400 years of free labor. Like you said, I think they just say, well, again, they're just the number that we are in debt is really irrelevant because the people that are in the debt matrix perspective do not even own themselves. The people that are in the debt matrix perspective do not even own themselves, and they don't know they don't own themselves, and they don't know that they are in a perspective, one single perspective out of an unlimited amount of perspectives of capitalism. You could hear the smartest person talk about economies, using words that might intimidate you because you don't feel that you're smart. All you got to do is turn to them and look at their car and say, are you making car payments? If they say yes, you know which perspective of capitalism they're talking about. People that understand, listen closely, people that understand how capitalism works do not finance depreciating objects with interest. People that understand how capitalism works also know that their time here is limited. I fully understand, in the perspective I live, I fully understand that my time here is limited. When I was in a debt matrix perspective, I forgot. I forgot I wasn't going to live forever. I forgot. Now, in the perspective in which I live, I never forget. I know for a fact my time here is limited. And the thought, listen, and the thought of ever believing that retirement was an age, I was going to retire at 67, that sounds, I don't know how much more they could just, the thing, the whole, none of it makes any sense. None of it. 67? Then I could start enjoying life. That doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even sound right. That's only if I took care of my health the whole long way. I went to work out, ate right all the years that I was working. How many people you think are doing that? All you gotta do is look out in the world. They got food commercials everywhere. You think those people are? I thank God every day. Age 45 is the minimum. If you ain't start waking up about 40, if I didn't start waking up around 43, got 45, you got 40, age 45 is the latest to wake up, the latest. You start getting around 50, that's probably you're gonna have a strong mind if you wake up around 50 and you're deep in student loan debt that you've had for 20 years, 6-figure career, you ain't never, and now you're not making that same amount of money that you've been making all those years, that you're gonna have to have a strong mind to wake up. Strong mind. Maker says, okay, I get that, and it makes sense. You are correct. Currently, I'm paying rent, which is continuously going up every year. I'm contributing an extra 20%, paying off my student loans. Well, I'm gonna speak to you from a different perspective again, Mecca. When you talk like rent is going up every year, that's going to happen for the rest of your life. Rent going up is never going to stop, ever. Well, I'm saying that because it doesn't matter. It only matters is because you're in debt. That's why it matters. Because you're in debt. People with mortgages are paying, this is the difference between, here's a different perspective. Here's the difference between renters and people with mortgages. Renters know they're renting. People with mortgages do not. People with mortgages are renting from the bank. On top of that, they have to take care of everything in that house and property, taxes and everything themselves. When you're a renter and know you're renting, you don't have to take care of none of that. Now, a person with a mortgage will tell you quickly, oh, you're never going to, well, at least I'm going to make money. And no, you're not. They're not. All that stuff that they tell you that they're doing, a person with a mortgage, hey, at least I have something I'm going to have. And that's a program that they don't own anything. They don't know what they're saying. You can't have equity in a mortgaged house. Once you have this in your mind, Mecca, you're going to stop saying that kind of stuff. You can't live anywhere for free. Just pick a nice place, a place that fixes their stuff quality and a time. It's worth every penny in rent because you don't have a choice. You have student loan debt. You can't buy a house. You have to put this in your mind. There is no other way to buy a house. I will never be able to buy a house until I pay the student loan debt off. If you say that to yourself, your brain will rewire itself to figure out a way how you can do this quicker. Right now, you're probably thinking, oh, it's going to take me forever to pay off this student loan debt because of the perspective in which you live today, because of the job you have today. You think it's going to take this job that's going to pay up. No. Once you start rewiring your brain to understand, which is, it sounds even funny saying rewire. All I'm doing is telling you the mathematical truth that you can't buy a house. The only way to buy a house is with cash. That's the only way. There is no other way. Your brain will rewire itself to figure out ways how you can do this faster. And by the time you pay off all your debt and your student loan debt, you might not even want a house. You might enjoy paying rent, because when you're debt free, the cost of everything is different. Rent is not going to be expensive for you because you won't have any debt. Rent only seems expensive because most people are in debt. That's why they think everything is expensive, because they're in debt. If you're listening to this, and say like you're a person right now listening to this and you're making 6 figures a year right now, and you're complaining about the price of everything and taxes and your house taxes, imagine you own everything you own right now, free and clear. You own your house, you own all your cars, you have no debt, all your credit cards are paid off, your student loan debt, you don't have anything, and you're still making 6 figures. Are yearly taxes for your property expensive anymore? Absolutely not. Taxes ain't nothing. They're nothing. You could fully fund your 401k every year, whatever the max is, 20, 21,000, 22,000, you just put it in there. You won't be complaining about gas prices are too high. You won't even look. You'll just pull up to the gas station while everybody's complaining about the price of gas. You'll just pull up to the gas station, put the thing in, and wait for the click. You don't care. It'll come back down. I don't know why they're scaring people, bracing it, because listen, all you got to do, like, now that I'm on the outside looking in, right? They understand if they make gas prices too high, that's going to be a problem for everybody, rich and poor. They're going to start stealing. They got to bring it back down. So what they do, what I see they do is this. Gas prices, I notice a pattern, and this is a pattern to my own observation, being debt free. Gas will be at a certain price for a little while. And then when they want to raise it, they raise it ridiculously to people start complaining, oh my God, it's $6, $7. And then they'll lower it, but it won't go back as low as it was before. That's how they raise the price of gas. Say like it was $3.79, right? And they want to raise it to maybe they want it normally to be in the 4s now instead of the 3s. Maybe they want it to always be in the 4s. So they'll raise it up to 6 and 7. And then after it gets too ridiculous high, then they'll bring it all the way back down to $4. And then everybody will be happy because it's not $6 or $7 a gallon. Debt slaves are owned. When you're in debt, you have no choice. You have no choices. Mecca, this is what I'm telling you is billions of people don't know, with a B. This takes concentration, but all you have to do to get out of that, all you got to do is keep trusting math. That will help your brain comprehend. I know it doesn't sound right, but his math is right. And no human on earth has ever broken the laws of mathematics. No human. You're right. I get it now. I just need to put my head down and grind it out and pay the student loans off quick. I need that. Exactly. You need to do it, because you look at those student loans and you think it's so big. This is what I used to do. I used to look at my student loans and say to myself, oh man, that's the price of a car. That's a down payment on a house. I used to say all this stupid nonsense. It's nothing. It's debt. And when you see a loan that cannot be discharged in bankruptcy, those are papers. That means you will not get out of that debt until you pay back every single penny of that debt. People in student loan debt are owned until they pay it back. Keep saying that to yourself, Mecca. If they had, like, put it this way, Mecca, if they actually, because once slavery has simply evolved from physical to invisible. When it was physical, you guys there were physical chains on them, right? They were uncomfortable. Things were around their necks. Now chains are invisible. If they said, if they made every person with a student loan wear chains around their ankles, I guarantee you they would pay those student loans off quickly. Because you'd be getting in your car, you'd be scratching up your car, scratching up the paint on when you get in and out of the door. You would mess up your house because the trains would be dragging it. You would have to take showers with these chains on. Well, you do that now, you just can't see them. And if you put that in your mind that you got psychological chains on, you will do whatever it takes to pay those student loan debts off fast. $1.7 trillion is a lot of slaves. That's a lot of slaves. See what I'm saying? And you make good income. That was the same with me. You know what that says, Mecca? I have no excuse. I was making six figures for all those years. I had absolutely no excuse to be carrying my student loans for 10 years. You know what that says? You know what that says, Mecca? I didn't go to college when I actually did. I went to college, but I kept my student loans for 10 years, went to college for 4 years. Nowhere on earth that makes any sense. Nowhere. It doesn't matter what language I say that in. It still doesn't make sense. You know how many people that went to college that have student loans that they're still paying on? Imagine going to college for 4 years and you've been paying on your college for 30 years, 20 years, your student loan debt for 20 years. That makes no sense. CENTS, no sense, and it'll never make any sense. But see, people don't know. You don't know. Every day you wake up, Mecca, just imagine the chains on you. You just got chains, literally a slave, literally. I didn't know that until I got out of debt, until I paid my student loan debt off. I didn't know it. Once you rewire your brain and understand, you'll do it. You'll do whatever it takes, especially if you make good money. I stopped going on vacations. I remember I moved out of my fancy high rise into my sister's house in a room in my 40s. I'm in my 40s now. And then I moved in with my sister. Oh, what's wrong with LJ? Oh, what happened? Did he lose his job? All the people in debt, they start talking about me. Oh, what's wrong? How come he ain't going on? My homeboys will call up. Hey, man, you gonna go on vacations with us? We're gonna go to so-and-so. Nah, man, I ain't got no money. Oh, man, I can loan you the money. No. What's matter, man? You having a hard time? No, man, I ain't got no money. I'm paying off debt. Oh, okay, man. Then they go and do whatever. I'll see him on Facebook or something, buy a brand new house. I'm like, I know you didn't buy that in cash because I know you're in debt. So I know you didn't buy it in cash. That means they're never coming out. And it's not, and the space I'm at right now, they just don't know. I don't judge them. I just can't be around them. Be ready to get ready to be jealous. People being jealous of you for no odd reason because you're going to change who you think you are. You think you're better than us because we're in debt and you're not. You're going to have to make a decision. am I going to keep these people in my life, or am I going to remove them because they're messing with my progress? Yes, it does. For surely does, James. You're right about that. Everything, and later on, when you guys get to this level, everything is about vibration. All perspectives of my life are running at the exact same time. My vibration speed determines which perspective in which I am in. My vibrational speed. I understand that I know something that billions of people do not, with a B. So that means my vibrational speed is very high, fast. The things I'm saying are mathematical facts that billions of people do not know. That right there says my speed. Yeah, I need to make some changes too. I have a wife and kid. Okay, and my wife is debt free. Oh wow, that's definitely a plus right there. But she also doesn't pay any bills. Just so I just need to cut and off of things off until I pay. Wait, let me see what that says. Okay, wait, I'm reading the wrong thing. But she also doesn't pay any bills, so I just need to cut and off of things off until I pay the debt off. Okay. I usually don't get into this, but I'm just, it's more about curiosity. So you're married with a child, and I'm assuming your wife has a job, but she's debt free, but she doesn't pay any bills. Is that what you're saying, Mecca? I'm just trying to understand it. Well, yeah, that'll help you pay off debt faster. That's what that does. You pay off the things, cut off the things that you don't need anymore. Not need anymore. You don't really need, so you just cut it off. And then once you cut off a lot of the things, you'll realize that there's a lot of things you're not gonna cut back on either, because you're gonna realize you don't even need it. One thing I know, I'm thankful and blessed with God that when I decided to get out of debt, I was single. Thank God I was single. I didn't really have to consult with anybody, or because I don't really certain things I understand, certain things I don't understand. So, but I didn't have to consult with anybody, which was nice, very nice. But I've been on here for about 2 hours, 30 minutes. And we're going to wrap it up. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Mecca, appreciate you. My wife doesn't have a job. She has her own business, hobby. She doesn't pay bills, but she buys groceries and home with our son. Well, put it this way: if it works for you guys, I mean, I'm not saying good or bad. I'm just reading it, right? I mean, as long as you guys put it this way, as long as you guys are working together, because I always tell couples, you got to both be on board when you go to this debt-free journey. And since she's already debt-free, you don't have to worry about that. Well, you'll see. Once you get to debt-free, I mean, they're your student loans anyway, so just do that. But once you get to that point, you'll know what to do. I promise you. But I'm not really into the relationship stuff, because some certain things I did it singly, so I can't really speak on that. So I don't want to seem like I am either. So,
But thank you everybody for joining. I appreciate it. About to wrap it up. It's getting tired. It's getting late. So for me at least. All right. You guys have a good night. Later.